Hello and welcome back to the channel. Nigel here with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench. Part 4 now of this Hachette Revisited. So if you remember in the last part, we fitted the resin knee pads there for the bomb aimer. We fitted this bracket that holds the downward looking light. We repainted all of this to get rid of the black in the nose and the darker green. We repainted this. We painted all the bits and pieces. Off camera I've gone along and also come down this front cord as well, because of course that upright for the instrument panel was also black all the way down to the floor at the front as well as the side. So it just makes it a bit more accurate. And then I went and put my finger in the paint, so you can probably see a mark in it there. But I'm not going to worry about it because it's way back up in here, and you're not going to see those little fingerprints. So I'm not going to worry about resanding that down and everything. It's just making work. Now, if you remember, we painted these bits here in LP65 rubber black Tamiya. And then I've gone over and I've painted this box here in silver, that box there in metallic grey. On here I've done a little mix of a brown and black just to sort of highlight the detail. We'll do something else in a minute that will make all that detail pop. I've painted the shelf here, the interior green colour for this one that's going on the wall. And then this reel here, I've just picked up a bit of detail on that one. As I say, we're going to do some more. Yes, I did forget, guys. I'm editing this in. I forgot to mention there's the QR code, and you've got the website address where you can go and find out more about this model if you want to build it along with me. And you can just follow the other series I'm doing, which is called Hachette Lancaster Bomber, and then this one is called Revisited, which is where I modify stuff. So I build it out of the packet and then I'll modify stuff. So there'll be two videos, two streams of videos running consecutively, and obviously the modified one will be behind the other one. So you can build along with me. And there we go, that's where you can find out all the information about it. So as you can see on here, on this one here, it looks like it's got dials on. In reality, they're not really dials, they're just little dots, so I'm not going to worry about that one so much. But these two here would have dials. So just to sort of show you, if you really want to go to town with your model and they really make it pop, because remember, the top's going to be removable, you're going to see all this. There's a company out there called Airscale. Model Aircraft Enhancements, and I think it's airscale.co.uk is the address. The decals are in the way. Yes, airscale.co.uk. There you go. Peter, he's a great guy, lovely guy. Sends me a lot of stuff for reviewing on the channel, so you can see, as you will know, I have reviewed a lot of stuff on the channel. So I've got lots of stuff here. I can show you the sort of things he does. So we've got cockpit placard decals for World War II Luftwaffe aircraft. I can't bloody talk today. In 1/32 scale. And then we've got alloyed cockpit placards in 1/24 scale. We've got 1/48 scale World War II US Air Force. We've got de Havilland Mosquito. So that's a specific set for the de Havilland Mosquito in 1/24 scale. And then we've got etched brass instrument surmounts. So if you want to make your own instrument panel from a flat piece of plastic card, you can, because you've got these etched brass ones, which are really nice. Then we've got etched brass cockpit parts in 1/32 scale. This lot here, this is 1/24 scale. This was just a spare fret he had, he gave me. So that's some bits and pieces. You can see some radio faces and all sorts there he does. We've got F6F Hellcat, another F6F Hellcat. So that's the Airscale set. So you've got a set for a specific kit. He also does one for the Lancaster. Now I haven't checked, I have got one here, I haven't checked how well it would fit this model. But if you want to go back and look on my channel, search Lancaster and you will see I've done a build, it's about 2 or 3 part video dedicated to using the Airscale instrument panel set, which was made and designed for the Hong Kong Models kit. So go take a look at that. I'm not sure if it fits this. I will have a look and let you know. What the chances are of fitting it, because it really is very, very nice. But the detail in this model is also very, very nice. I'm not going to go that far and change it. I'm just going to use the stuff that Hachette have given us because it is very nice. But I am going to add some dials. Now, believe it or not, I don't have any RAF decals. I can't believe it, but I don't. So we're going to use these 1/32 scale US Army Air Force ones. And there's a sheet of acetate in there, which is you can also use. So what we're going to do is have a look on here. I'm going to use my calipers again. I know a lot of you won't have these, but I'm going to use them anyway. And I'm going to look at what the diameter of this dial is here. So these dials here are, they're both the same, about 2.8 millimeters. So I'm just going to pick a couple of dials off of here that we've got more than one of, that's about 2.8 millimeters in diameter. I think that one there will be perfect, number 6, because that's small, a bit slightly smaller. 25 would also be okay. I mean, I'm looking now at an image. Hang on a second. I'm looking now at an image. The screen popped up because I put the camera on, and they just look like sort of any old Speedo or whatever dials. So I think those there, number 6. I'm not going to use those because they'd be okay for a car. I'm going to use these down here. Now, I'm not really worried which ones I use, to be honest. I wish like you see here, 17, there's 4 of them. I wish I had 4 of another one. 19, there's 4 of those, but they're too small. I think I'm going to use those 26s, because I often use these on car instrument panels. So what we're going to do is cut these out. Now you'll notice that I'm using scissors. You'll see a lot of people cut decals with a knife. I don't ever recommend cutting decals with a knife, because what happens when you cut with a knife, you push up an edge. It's almost like when a plough goes through a field, it pushes up an edge, and that edge can make it very hard to get the decal over. And also, if you are cutting very close to the decal, you could actually put an edge on the decal and make it sort of raised, if you know what I mean. So it's always worth remembering. What is that 26? It's a turn and bank indicator. There we go. So there we are. So I've got a little drop of water here. So I'm not going to bother separating these. I'm going to leave them together. I'm just going to dip them in the water. Okay, just enough to let get my cardboard wet. This is actually cardboard, this here. I'm going to put that on there just to dry, just to soak up. And I've got stuff here called Micro Set and Micro Sol. You don't have to use these, but they do work very well, and they will make your decals go down a lot better than they will ordinarily. So if you're into your modelling, if you think you're going to have a go at some scale modelling, do some sprue modelling or Airfix kits or whatever, then it's very much worth having this stuff. We just put a drop there and a drop there. Okay, so as you can see, I've just put a drop on each one, and this will just help the decal to stick down. It helps it stick down. What I'm going to do is grab one of my painting sticks and put this on there, because it makes it easier to hold. Now, these decals should be ready to slide off now. Yes, they are. As you can see there, they're ready to slide around because they're water based. So we can put this in here. In fact, I'm going to put it in one of the small holes because it'll make it more stable. I'm going to turn this over. I'm going to use a pair of tweezers so you're not looking at my great big nail bitten stumps. I'm going to use a pair of tweezers so you can see what I'm doing. And then all I'm going to do, I'm going to put some more Micro Set on there because I've been hanging around too long and it's started to dry out. So put a little drop on there. Okay, and then I'm going to put these what I think is about the right way up and just slide them into position off the paper, just like so. Okay, you don't have to get them perfect first time. So now we've got that, we can move them around, position them, whatever you want to do, put them where you want. Okay, and if they don't want to move, you can actually use a knife, something sharp, just to move them around. Okay, because sometimes when you use Micro Set, they just go bang, they just glue down. And then we're going to grab a cotton bud and just roll the cotton bud over the surface. Okay, and try not to move them around. Now I'm going to have to go and look under my magnifier because I can't see the top edge on that. Okay, so there we go, they're down. Alright, and what we can do now is just take the Micro Sol, which is the red one, and yes, I'm going to use the same brush, and a lot of people say you shouldn't, but I don't have to worry about it. And I'm just going to put some Micro Sol on the top, make sure it gets all around the edges because it'll make it all go down nicely. Now, something I would recommend with these decals. I thought I'd try it without, and it hasn't worked very well. I would recommend putting a gloss coat down. Decals go down better on a gloss coat than on a matte coat, because a matte coat, when you look at it under a microscope, is like a load of pins and it doesn't bond down. But hopefully these will go down and stay on. If they don't, it's not the end of the world. What we'll do is we'll take them off and we'll put a gloss coat on and we'll start again. But I will let you know how we go. But if they stay down on this flat paint and they don't lift, then I know we'll be fine. Okay, so we've got the microsole on there, and generally once you put microsole on, just leave them alone. I just wanted to make sure there was no air under them or anything. So you can see there, although it's totally inaccurate, it's something to look at when you take the top off rather than just looking at a blank panel. Now there's nothing else here that really needs a decal on it or a decal. This one here we can put some gloss on it or something. But the other thing I'm going to do to really enhance these parts is use a process called dry brushing. Now I'm going to get all this cleared up and put away, and then I'm going to show you some dry brushing. Okay, so dry brushing is exactly what it says on the tin. Basically it's using very, very tiny amounts of paint on a brush and just brushing over to enhance raised detail. Now silver is very, very harsh. It only needs the slightest amount to make it really sort of stand out and pop, and it looks a bit garish. So sometimes it's better to use something like dark iron. But we're going to have a go with silver. Now I recommend these paints. These are actually knackered and dried out. But this is Mr. Metal Colour 218, and I've got a feeling these are enamel based. I've got a feel, I can't remember now. But they, you can see this is all dried out. Okay, but that's fine for what we want. So I'm just going to get some of this silver paint on the brush, and as you can see, the fact that it's dried out is being really helpful because I'm not getting the brush too wet. And what I'm going to do, you can see on here, I'm brushing over this towel and it's just darkening, and there is just the absolute slightest amount of paint on there. And then when I lightly brush over here, you'll be able to see that it just picks up the edges and the corners of stuff, just like so. Very, very subtle. Okay, we'll do the same on here. I'm doing this very, very gently. If you start going at it like hammer and tong, what you will do is end up with too much on there and it's just too garish. In fact, that is actually probably a little bit too much. Alright, same on here. Alright, and remember, when it's down inside the model, it won't look so bad. As you know, when you're focusing on it now, it doesn't look, it looks a bit garish. But when it's down inside the model, it won't look so bad. So you can see there, we've just got the detail just raised. I'm going to try and do this and stay away from those dials. As you can see, just chance going over those dials. Yep, we're getting away with it. There we go. You can see it just sort of gives it a bit of body. Come on, camera, focus. Okay, so it just looks a little bit better than just leaving it plain. We could also do the same on this floor here. We could put some silver down where the pilot's feet have been. Just highlight that area there. We could just, you can see on the green it's very, very subtle. Okay, so that's it. I mean, that is dry brushing. Now, if your paint isn't dried out like mine is, then you just get the paint, get the brush wet and just literally brush it and just keep on brushing until it's like that, and basically nothing is coming off, especially with silver. If you're using black or something, then you know it's fine, but when you're using silver, you can see you have to be careful because you might go a little bit heavy and end up like that. So what we could do now, in fact I'll show you dry brushing with the darker paint. Well, this one's properly dried out. This one's actually had it. Yeah, there's nothing coming off on there at all, I don't think. But yes, there is. That'll just tone it down a bit. Okay, so these paints are really dried out. They're very, very old. They're probably 8-10 years old, so you know they're extremely dried out and past the sell-by date. But you can use ordinary paint. Tamiya XF paints tend to be not very good for dry brushing because they tend to be quite grainy and they don't sort of they don't go down well with dry brushing. Enamel paints are amazing for dry brushing, the old Humbrol enamel paints, but you have to have the brush very, very dry, especially like I say when you're doing silvers and stuff. Just go steady with it. Okay. So there you can see that panel, which was just a plain piece of black plastic, has sort of come to life a bit. Unfortunately, with Lancasters, they aren't very interesting colour-wise. The bomb aiming computer, this piece here, is very interesting because all these little things on here are lights and they're sort of turquoise and green and it looks really interesting. But unfortunately, we're not having that in our model, so we can't add that. But and this model is fairly basic detail-wise in the nose. Having said that, I've got the border model Lancaster. I've built the nose. I've built it up, the interior, and you can't really see it. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. But there we go. So there you are. So that's dry brushing for you. What we're going to do now, we're going to take some clear, and we're going to put some clear on here and on those gauges just to make them shine, so they look like they've got glass on them. Okay, so now you can see the improvement on there. We've got the clear on there, so it looks like they're glazed. Okay, so that's that. And then the same on here. Those gauges on there look glazed. And on this panel here, I just went around that little radius. It's just to try and, you know, try just make it look a little bit less boring, so it's all just plain black. Right, so with all this detail, I have used Vallejo Model Air steel. The Vallejo Model Air steel and aluminium are fantastic paints to use on the brush. I don't like spraying Vallejo paints. I don't get on with them. The black is Model Air black. The red is Game Colour Rojo Sanguina Bloody Red. Okay, it's red. And then here, Game Colour. I bought a small set of these Game Colour paints. Dark green. The beauty of the Game Colour paints, they're slightly thicker than the Model Air, so they're a lot better for coverage. So this is dark green, and I'm just going to put some here in an upturned Tamiya pot. Okay, put the lid back on, and then I'm going to grab a brush. Which one should we use? I'll use this one, I think. This is my MIG Ammo brush, and what we're going to do, we are going to paint this colour onto our knee pads for the bomb aimer. I almost said navigator then. So we could just paint that on there, just like so. There we are. So that's that done, nearly done. And then if you want to, you can enhance it with washes or whatever, or just leave it basic green. You know, you don't have to do any of this. You're still going to end up with a lovely model. There we go. I'm going to go around these edges with the green as well. This was actually sort of stretched over and pinned to the back of the emergency access panel. Emergency exit panel. Hence the rivets around the edge. There we are. So we're just going to brush that over. You can see it's quite thin, because we can see the other green through it. That's fine, we'll just give it another coat. I'm not worried about the brush marks because this was actually leather, so it wouldn't have been completely smooth and flat anyway. Make sure we get right down the edge of this chest pad because that will be seen through the front window. And there you go. Just apply some more paint on there. I don't think it's, no, it's not dry enough yet to be covered for a second coat, but we can get some more paint on there. And we can just let that dry and then give it another coat. And if you want to give it a gloss varnish, whatever, but you can see now that you've got a lot more completeness in the nose, if you like. Again, it's like, you know, I think the only model that has that in plastic scale model is the Border Models Lancaster. I don't think any of the others have it. So, you know, it's no wonder that this manufacturer missed it out. Plus they had the book and that museum piece that had those white labels in the bottom as well. I'm just going to... There we go. There we are. Happy with that. Right, let that dry, give it another coat, and then I'll be back. You can see that's had another coat there, and it's all nice and covered now and green. So, now we'll look at another way of enhancing detail, and that is using washes. Now, this is the MIG Ammo set number 3, I'm guessing. Contains 3 jars. We've got panel line wash storm grey, panel line wash neutral brown, panel line wash stone grey. So basically 2 greys and a brown, and these are actually, you can see we've got a Lancaster on the front, and they're designed to make the detail pop, if you like. So what I'm going to do is just give this a good shake. You can make these yourself using Humbrol enamel paints and enamel thinners. Best use odorless thinners because it doesn't attack parts. Sometimes enamel thinners will attack the parts. So I'm just going to put a tiny drop of this brown on here, and you'll see what happens if you've never seen this before, which I know that some people washing won't have seen this. This is the brown, and you can see that when I put this on here, what's going to happen is it's going to run into all the corners. It's going to make the detail pop. Okay, so you can put it on heavy, you can put it on light, do whatever you want. And what that's going to do, as you can see, it's making the detail pop. Now if I take a cotton bud and just roll it over the surface, I can remove most of it and just leave it in the nooks and crannies, like so. So you can see that's gone from just being a plain brown painted piece of plastic. It's got a bit of life now. It's got a bit of flash on the side there as well. But it just sort of enhances it. Now if you've gone with a cotton bud like I have and taken too much off, you can just come in, and this is what's called doing a pin wash. Just apply it to certain areas and let it go where you want it to go, rather than just brushing it all over everywhere. Okay, and what that will do, it will run around all the edges and the corners. Okay, and just enhance them. And then if you want to, once it's sort of started to dry, you can come in with some enamel thinners on a brush and just remove anywhere where it's built up. And if you don't like it, you can come along with some enamel thinners and take it all off. Now you can't use this on top of enamel paint unless you seal it with an acrylic varnish first. It's enamel base, so it will obviously dissolve enamel paint. So if you've painted your model with Humbrol enamel paints, if you put this on there, it's going to make your model look bloody awful because it's going to take all the paint off. Okay, so you can see there how that's enhanced all the detail on that parachute. So we just put that to one side to dry. I'm going to put the lid back on here. Now I'm going to try something on here. This is stone grey for black. Okay, so I'm going to try this. Now, giving it a good shake, as you can see, it's like a very dark grey colour. I just wipe the brush off on a rag. And what I'm going to do is see what happens when I put it on here. Okay, so I can hold this and just touching it on and letting it go around all the edges. And what I'm hoping it's going to do is give everything a boundary, if you like. It's going to sort of outline everything. And because it's designed for black, it will be very subtle. And as you can see, I don't know if you could even see it on there, it's just gone into all the nooks and crannies. But that will dry, and we'll see how it looks when it dries. I'm going to do the same on this one here. Just touch it and then get away, let it go and do its thing. And it'll just go into all the corners. I don't even know if you can see that, but it's just enhancing. It'll be easy to see when it's dry because you're looking at it now and it's glossy. When it dries, it will dry matte. Touch that on there. And this is just totally artistic license, just to try and sort of make everything look, you know, kind of not used, but just give it a patina. I'm not going to weather this model at all. There we are. And then on this one, this will really take to it because we've got that reel and we've got those holes. In fact, we'll paint over that whole reel, and that the wash will run into those little triangular sections in the wheel and really make that stand out. So there we are. Okay, now I wouldn't recommend putting washes on here unless you give it a clear coat first, because what it will do, it will actually soak into the paint and stain. You'll get like large areas around the edge. So we'll just leave that and let the shadows deal with that one. If you wanted to put a wash on it, give it a clear coat, then put a wash on it. Go see my other builds and you'll see what I mean. But you can see that as it dries, the kind of look we're getting, and as it is drying, we can come along with a cotton bud and just play with it and wipe away excess and stuff. And as you can see now, that looks a lot better than just having that brown piece of plastic. So we can literally, I don't even think this needs gluing, does it? I think we can literally just pop that into there. And you can see how lovely that looks now in its green box rather than the black box. So there you go. How to improve your model. So we'll get this out of the way. We'll put these washes away. And then we can fit this parachute into here, which is easier said than done because I've now got that shelf in the way. I think this is also a push fit. I don't think it needs glue, does it? From memory. Yeah, that just pushes in there. And that's going to stay, that's not going to come out of there. And you can see how lovely that looks now. We've got the green instead of the black, we've got the cushion in there, we've got the cushion for the pad, we've got the parachute in there. It's all looking lovely. So you can see when we look through the nose, you won't see any of it. You'll see some of it, but not all of it. There we go. And you can see now when we put this pedestal on as well, you can see that black column there at the back that you'll see when you look through the nose. So if you really want to look for it. Right, remember we're also going to have the wires in there from the turret as well, so that's going to change things about a bit. I've just noticed I've got some green paint on that upright. Can I get it off, or has it dried? Yes, I can get it off, it's coming. There we go. That's one of the beauties of using water-based paint. Yeah, I'm going to have to, that's a shame, I'm going to have to go over that with a little bit of green paint and touch it in. We'll just get some of the cockpit green. We'll get a drop, a tiny drop on a small brush, and just touch that in. There we go. Job done. That was easy, wasn't it? And I've also noticed I've got a bit of bad masking just there. There we go. That's nicer. That's better. So there we are, guys. That is basically parts pack 3 is complete in the modified videos. Let's have a look. We've got to glue that in there. We're not gluing that on 10 on because it'll get broken off. We've done all the windscreen and everything already, so that's all good. Yeah, so all we've got to do now is glue that into there. Oops. So that's going to be like that. So what I'm going to do here is take a round blade. I'm going to remove paint from there. I'm going to remove paint from there. And when we stick this in, we'll be going plastic to plastic. In fact, what we could do is just put some in that hole. So let me grab a drop of super glue. My favourite black thin. And we'll get a drop onto our Pringles lid here. Just like so, we don't need very much. And then the glue applicator. Put some on there. We can put some on there. We can put some on there. This ain't going to go nowhere, is it? There, and then put this in, make sure it goes the right way round. It's just going to sit in there like that. There we go. And then we can, just to make sure, because we haven't got enough glue on there after all, just to make sure, we can put some glue on the back there, let that soak in, and then mop it off. Just like that, and that's that part stuck in. Now we can see that we got some staining on there from the oil. The oil is so subtle you can hardly see it, the wash. But if we put a flat coat over there now, that would get rid of that oil staining. And I'm wondering if I can actually no. I didn't realise that wash did that. It's unusual for a wash to go and stain like that. The Modeller's World washes are better. They don't do that, but unfortunately they're no longer available in the UK as far as I know. These are the Modeller's World washes. This one here, the first one I pick up, this is Rust. They're very good. They dry dead flat. And that one has left a sort of semi-gloss sheen on there. It's only when it catches the light it matters, so I may just leave it. What I might do is go over with the black, with the Modeller's World. That's black brown. Where's the black? Deep black. Get a drop of this one. Tamiya bottle, turn it over, just get a drop. We don't need too much. Come on. There we go. Just get a drop. Get our oils brush. I never share brushes between oils and acrylics, so I always use, what we'll do, I always use separate brushes and never share them. That way you don't get contamination. What I'm doing here is just going over this with the black wash to get rid of those shiny sheen marks that's been left behind by the Mig Ammo wash. I'm glad I've seen that on this model, because I'd be really disappointed if I ended up with a load of marks all over my model and the outside. So just let that dry for a sec. Yeah, this one's the same. You can see it on there. We've got that. See that shiny sheen around everything? That's a pain. Washes normally dry matte, like this one will. This is just, as I said, it's just a black wash. Just makes life a bit easier, gets rid of that sheen. Yeah, it's got exactly the same on there. You can see around there we have the sheen all around. So there we go. Not going to worry about it on that one. I'm not going to worry about it on that one either. So there we are. We'll let those dry. See how they look when they dry out. In fact, what I'm going to do is go over this whole panel because it's going to give it a different colour. And if we do that, we'll give it a kind of uneven, blotchy sort of look. And what we might be able to do now is come in with a cotton bud and wipe this away and move it all around, and it'll give us an uneven sort of blotchy look to it. And it should also get rid of that sheen that's on there. So we'll see how that dries. Back in a minute. Just in case I forget to tell you and show you, with this here, if you want to make this look like leather, one of the best ways to do it is, I'm not going to do it now because it's wet, it's not fully dry, but you use skin grease. So I usually just rub my finger down the side of my nose or something where you've got some oils on your skin and rub over, and it gives it that sort of leather looking sheen. Yes, it's a bit disgusting, I know, but it's it works bloody well. So there we can see that panel's in there now, and as we can see, that looks so much better than just having a black panel there. You know, a bit of artistic license and stuff, but hey ho, you know, we've got some detail there. So moving on to part 4, or pack 4, we've got to fit that side panel to the pedestal, and we've got to fit all these panels here into the side of the fuselage. So we've got this panel here, it's going to go onto the pedestal, just like so. We can push that down in, make sure it's gone fully home, and then I'm going to grab my super glue and my applicator, and I'm going to put some glue into those slots from behind. Remember, I removed some paint and plastic or whatever from them because they were because it was a very, very tight fit. And when you've got stuff that tight, you shouldn't really force it together because you run the risk of actually snapping something, especially when both parts are plastic. So there we go, that's on there. As you can see again, that's looking quite nice. We do still have that bit of sheen on there where it's drying, but I'm not going to worry about it because you only see it when it catches the light. So that's that done, and then we're going to take this panel here, which is 04L, and we're going to add our, in fact we'll do that one last. We've got this little panel here, this little, this is 04E, which is the astrograph. There we go. So that's going to press into that D-shaped hole there. No, it's not. It's going into that D-shaped hole there, which I can't get to from behind. So I'm going to put some glue in there, in that hole. Just make sure we've got a decent drop in there so it doesn't go falling out. In fact, that probably didn't even need any glue because it's a very snug fit. There we go, that's in like that. Okay, so much for the all the work we did. I'm going to wipe the front of that off with a cotton bud because the wash has made those gauges go dull. There we go. And then we've got 04Q, which is the trailing antenna piece, and that's going to go, that's got a D-shaped pin on it and a D-shaped hole, and that's going to go into there. Okay, so put some glue on the back of there and let it soak in, and that will, if you manipulate the part a little bit, that will help it to go in as well. Okay, so that's there. I'm going to be careful not to put this down. I don't want to ruin this piece of cardboard I've just put down. And then we've got this panel here. What is this panel called according to Hachette? 04M is the airspeed altimeter repeater. So that's going to go into that hole there, and again we've got a D-shaped hole, so it goes the right way up. That's just going to go into there like that. There we go, so that's gone in like that. Put some glue on the back, that'll hold that in place there. So there we go, so that's that bit done, as you can see. Okay, so there's the how it looks, and there's how ours look. Doesn't it look better? It's really worth taking the time to do that extra bit of work. And then here we've got the floor where we've already painted the black bit there. We've got all this done at the front. We fitted the parachute, and we fitted this panel here, which they're telling us to fit, and we've sanded it all out. Going over the page, they're telling us to fit this knee pad, which we've already done. They're telling us to fit these two windows here, which we've already done. And they're telling us to fit the curtain and the armour plating for the flight engineer, which we've already done. So there we go. So that's showing us everything we've done in pack 4. Did I just put that glue on there, or was that from previous? It must have been from previous. So there we go. So we have done part 4. Now we're going to look at part 5, and I'm going to do a separate video for this, because in this there is a lot of work to do, and you're going to really enjoy it. So that will be part 5. Okay, so I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you for watching, and as I say, in part 5 we're going to be modifying the cockpit seat. We're going to change the colour of the cockpit seat. We're going to modify the belts. We're going to be doing lots and lots of work. Let's look at how much we actually build. We're going to be repainting all of this. We're going to be repainting all of this. We're going to be repainting all of this. We're going to repaint these pipes. I think they should be silver. And make some pop anyway. And then we're going to modify these pipes here, paint them silver. And then the seats, we're going to rip off the belts and replace them probably, or try and do something with them, I don't know. We're going to have to paint the armrests because they've got a horrible great big screw nib on them. So there we go, lots and lots of work to do in part 5. Hope you join me for that, and I'll see you for it in the next few days, hopefully. So thank you for watching. I'll see you all soon. Don't forget to hit that subscribe down there if you haven't already. It's free, and if you haven't already, hit the notifications bell, and you'll be notified when I put videos out. Just for a final look at that little line there. Look how lovely that looks with a bit of paint on it. Looks great, doesn't it? When we put it in the inside the fuselage fuselage section, you can see there it's going to look really, really nice. Okay. Thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you all soon. Bye for now.